Welcome back to another podcast. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host D-Lo, and we are Part of My Wisdom. This is a podcast where we talk about a lot of different things: sports, social media, current events, relationships. We have a bunch of good topics for you today, but if you would take a moment just to like and subscribe, it really helps us out a lot. Takes no effort, takes 2 seconds. Just go ahead and hit the buttons. Now, what we got today, D-Lo?
Yeah. On the docket today, we have NBA trades, Chris Rock's response to Will Smith's apology, and a look at Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears molestation allegations.
Sounds like we got some juicy stuff today, bro. For real.
For sure, man. Let's get right into it. So, NBA trades, Patrick Beverly to the Lakers. What does that mean for Westbrook?
Now, from what I've seen, I was doing a lot of research last night, and it seems like they're getting along very, very well. I was watching a couple of YouTube videos last night where Patrick Beverly was doing like an intro interview with a bunch of different reporters after like their first workout, first practice, and it looks like Westbrook and they're getting along, like they're gonna mesh really well, especially being on the court together, like a 1-2 tandem, putting I guess Patrick Beverly at the point and letting him run the two, letting Westbrook run the two. Of course, he's probably gonna be the primary ball handler out of the two of them, but it looked like they're gonna do well, man. He threw him a towel in the interview. He said, "Thanks, my brother," and some more stuff. So I think they're gonna get along very, very well, bro.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction for the Lakers. Probably gets them in the playoffs if everybody stays healthy, obviously. So Brian, AD, but I don't think it wins them a championship, but it definitely gets them in the playoffs.
I think so too.
Regardless of how people feel about Brian, AD, if they're healthy, you add in a piece like Patrick Beverly. If Russ has a better year this year, then they're definitely a team to at least think about in the West.
For sure.
Again, it doesn't win them a championship, but it's somebody that you have to respect because, like I mentioned, if Bron and AD are healthy, you have 2 of the 7 or 10 best players in the league. You get into a playoffs where everything is matchups. It's an issue for some teams.
It's going to be an issue for some teams for sure, and especially if Westbrook turns back into Westbrook.
Right.
I promise they have a chance. I mean, but Patrick Beverly didn't have he didn't have amazing stats with Minnesota, but he was definitely like one of those key role players, just with 9 points, 4 and 4, shot 35% from the three, which is not bad. People always say they got to surround LeBron with shooters. 34% in the league ain't bad as far as a 3-point shooter. So that's really, really good. Now, they did get rid of THT, which is surprising to me because THT has been their fucking darling for the past, 3 years, and they never wanted to get rid of him. But I guess last year he didn't really have a really good performance, so they had to let him go. And, of course, they let go of Stanley Johnson, too, who wasn't really a big piece of the Lakers last year anyway, off 10-day contracts and things. So it wasn't really a thing for them to get rid of Stanley. But THT seemed like they was going to try to develop him a little bit longer than they did.
Yeah, I think if anything, it helps them on the defensive side. Again,
for sure.
It's always a league of if things go perfect on paper, what teams look like, what they can do, their potential. On paper, if everybody's healthy, the Lakers are better on defense. I don't know about offensive side of the thing. I don't think it really affects them too much on the offensive side, just because. Again, like you mentioned, the 3-point shooting is still lackluster. AD, before he was hurt, was shooting terrible from the field. Bron is streaky. Westbrook is not really a shooter like that. So defensively, I think they'll be better. AD's there. He's on the back end. If they can somehow bring in another big man, they'll be good. If anything, Patrick Beverly is going to be a nuisance. The comment, ironically, comment that Westbrook made that he's out there tricking you all, that he's playing good defense. I mean, like I said, he might not be as good as he likes to think he is, but he's going to be a nuisance. If anything, you can put him on a ball handler or a predominant player of the league, and he'll just be a nag to them, irritate them throughout the game.
That's crazy. And it's funny you said that about how he's not as good as he thinks he is, because he's been making over the summer. He's been making some crazy comments about a lot of people. Well, mainly Chris Paul, but
Mm-hmm.
anytime that, like, if he's on a show being a guest on like First Take, or one of those shows on ESPN, he's always making comments about players like, why are you talking about them? They don't get no talk in the locker room. There are nobody in the NBA, this and the third. But he made a comment recently. Of course, we're gonna get to the Chris Paul comments, but he made a comment literally just earlier this week about how does it feel to be playing with AD and LeBron? And this man said they're going to be playing with me.
Yeah. So
Like,
it's
who do you think you are, my boy?
my
Like,
listen,
my
exactly.
boy, what are you talking about?
It's like he turned into Abdewale from Captain Phillips movie. You remember? Look at me. Hey,
Yeah. I am the
I'm
captain
the
now,
captain
right?
now. Like, bro, come
No,
on, man.
facts. Like, what are you talking about,
Like, what
bro?
are you like? You playing regardless if the Lakers, Bron and AD did not make the playoffs last year and you did, and y'all celebrated like y'all won a championship. You still playing with
You still
you
playing with
are
them,
playing with LeBron James
like,
and
bro?
Anthony Davis, two of the, as I mentioned earlier, two of the top 10 players in the league. Yeah, you
Right.
had a little success with Minnesota, injuries riddled, and the fans will say Russ Westbrook
Westbrook.
messed
Yep.
up. Yeah, messed up the Lakers last year, but
Mm-hmm.
you still playing with those caliber of players. It's not there playing with you. And I mean, on the flip side of that, you have to like his confidence coming in as a role
Always.
player. He's speaking with confidence. I think in a different interview, he walks into the interview with all the reporters and he's like, "Good morning," and the reporters are like, "Yeah, hello, hello," and then he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "No, good morning. We a family, right?" I say good morning.
Yeah.
I say good afternoon. Y'all say it back. So I'm gonna say it again. Hello. So you like that confidence, and he does
Mm-hmm.
have that little arrogance that will allow him to bring more of a competitive edge for the
For
Lakers.
sure.
But yeah, he's an interesting character, man. He's an
He definitely is
interesting
interesting.
character.
Definitely is, man. Now, I would have asked you, because you went to school with Chris Paul. Y'all was in school
Yep.
at the same time. You know what I'm saying? You've met him. You somewhat know him. How do
Hmm.
you feel about what he was saying about Chris Paul being a cone and nobody prepares for
He's just talking.
him?
I mean,
He
because
just talking, bro.
you also have to think this is the same person that when a reporter asked him what is it a challenge to guard LeBron, and he shut it down all times. It's no challenge, no challenge. But now he's playing with LeBron, or he will be playing with LeBron. Is oh, well, LeBron's one of the best players to play this game. He's
All
been in the
time. Yep.
league. Yeah, he's an all time great. Been in the league for since his terms since he was a baby. Talking about being 18 and
Mm-hmm.
still going strong. So it's just that's just his nature, man. Patrick Beverly is that player that if he's not on your team, you freaking hate him. But if he's
You
on your
definitely do.
team, you love him because he's going to do the dirty work. He's going to do little things to help you win a game. He might not win a
Mm-hmm.
game for you, but he's going to help you, do the little things to
Do
get
those
over the edge.
intangibles, yep, and
Yeah.
do the things you can't teach, man. For sure, he's got that effort, he's got that dog, he's got that work ethic that a lot of players should have. But he has that reputation of being one of those nasty, dirty players that But he's usually doing it to get. He's a pest. He's really doing it just to get under your skin, and he's one
Right.
of
And
those guys.
yep. And the
Mm-hmm.
irony of it is that's why him and Russ had a beef because in the playoffs, I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember when it was,
I think it was
2017.
2000. I think it was a little bit longer than. Was it 17? Was it that? So because
Or
I
whenever
think
whenever Westbrook was with OKC.
OKC, and he
Yeah, and he was with
hurt his
Houston.
hurt
Yeah, yeah,
intentionally
yeah.
hurting his knee. Yeah, I can't remember what year that was, but I think you right spot on, probably like 16 or 17 whenever that
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
happened. Had to
Yeah.
get
So
surgery and some more. So yeah,
that's
that's
the
where that
irony of
reputation
it.
came from, though. For real,
Right.
that injury right there. Hmm.
Right. And that's the irony of him being a part of the Lakers along with Westbrook is,
Hmm.
like I mentioned, he does the dirty work for you, but some people like it, some people don't. And if he's on your
Hmm.
team, you love it. Obviously, you don't want him to hurt anybody, but if he's out there competing, giving his all, then you can't really say much about it.
Yeah, and he also there was also some rumors circling around that they since now that they have Patrick Beverly, they were going to get rid of Westbrook. And it
Hmm.
doesn't seem like that's going to happen now, but Patrick Beverly seems to think they're going to make it to the Western Conference Final. So we're going to have to see about that.
So I don't know about it. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen right now. I think what the Lakers are doing. Yeah, and I'm gonna spin it back to you on what your actual thought is. I think what the
Mhm.
Lakers are doing is publicly they're saying they're good with Russell Westbrook, Donovan Darvinham is his name.
Darvingham, yeah,
Darvinham.
that's the coach. Yeah, Darvingham's the
Yeah,
coach. Mhm.
Darvinham is. I think he wants to keep Westbrook, but I think the Laker Nation is putting the pressure on the management to get rid of Westbrook and pull in
Mhm.
more pieces that will make them a championship team. So I think publicly the Lakers are doing the right thing, saying that they're good with Westbrook, but privately, eventually it'll come out to light as everything in the NBA does. But privately, they're trying to find a deal that gets that contract off of their books and they can pull in some more
Mhm.
pieces to make them a championship team. Everybody's looking at the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner
Mhm. That's
option.
what I was thinking about. I was gonna say
Um,
that too. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't think they want to get rid of those two first round draft picks. But in reality, we've talked about this many times, Six. It doesn't matter if they have a first round draft pick or not. They're lost. They're in Los Angeles. They're a storied franchise in the NBA.
Mhm.
They can pull. They can get anybody they want to realistically if they're
That's
willing
a fact.
to pay for it. So those draft picks, while it helps, um, I don't think it holds much weight because of who they are as a franchise. And so
Nah,
ultimately,
facts.
I think Westbrook is, if they can't find anybody, they're just gonna say whatever, we'll keep him. But
Mhm.
they're actively trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think sometime before the trade deadline they're gonna try to move him for sure. I was gonna speak on the Buddy Hield and the Miles Turner trade because that's the one that's been coming up a lot, in the circles and in the media, and in all the avenues that it comes out for sports. But like you said, if they're not trying to get rid of those picks, like you said, it the picks don't really matter to me. Whenever you're LA or somebody like, I don't know, say San Antonio or somebody like say Chicago, not now, but like maybe like back in the day with Chicago. But the picks is if you have that kind of franchise and
Yep.
where the location and the story of franchise and the prestige that organization has, the draft picks, although would be nice to get some young talent down the road, but you're trying to win now with LeBron, who's on the back end of his career. Still balling, but on the
Mm-hmm.
back end of his career. He's going to ball until he gets the ball with his son, which probably be within the next 3 to 4 years, which he has that contract. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to win now with LeBron, you make those moves now. Fuck those draft picks. You
Right.
do what you do to get those core pieces around him. So that way, whenever they come, they can mesh with Bron, mesh with Patrick Beverly, get that core chemistry around them, and you can go ahead and make a championship run. And then, you know, with those moves you made, then I guess what Patrick Beverly said, y'all can make it to the Western Conference Finals. But as constructed right now, playoff bound for sure. But Western Conference Finals, I doubt that for sure.
Yeah. It's just for me, man. I don't know why Bron tried to change the recipe
Mm-hmm.
when he got to the Lakers. So historically, the formula for helping LeBron win is you surround him with some players that are a little bit athletic, can play defense, and can shoot the three, so they can space the floor. He can get in the lane, do what he does around the basket, or dish it out. When he got
Right.
to the Lakers, they wanted to change that. He wanted to change that. I'll say they, because Magic was involved with it at the time, and then Rob Pelinka. They wanted to change that formula. They wanted to get more playmakers around him and take the ball out of his hand. And as we've
Mm-hmm.
seen, when they got AD, it worked because they did have some defenders. They also had more shooters than they have on the team now.
Right.
But now it's, you see it doesn't work because it's no space on the floor. He can't get in the
Facts.
lane. AD can't get in the lane. You don't have anybody that can stretch the floor. So I think they still need to get a little bit more shooting
They definitely do.
around Bron. But yeah, regardless if they have shooting or not, if everybody's healthy, if AD doesn't get hurt every other week, no offense AD, but if he doesn't get
Facts.
hurt every other week, then they can make it to the playoffs. Whether it's a play-in game or not, they can make it to playoffs on those two alone.
For
The
sure.
regular season is all about your surviving and enduring. Your role
Mm-hmm.
players winning you a game here and there, and then when you get into the playoffs, that's when your stars show up and win you
The
16
stars got to
games.
go crazy. For
And
sure. For
so
sure. For sure.
we'll see. I think, like you started out the segment with, or this portion of the segment, I think Russ and AD are playing a part right now. Everything looks good, but with some of those comments that Patrick Beverly has made, I wonder if he continues to make along the year, does it start to rub some of the players the wrong way, especially if they're not winning how they thought they were going to win?
Right. Nah, facts. It probably will if he keeps on making the comments, but we're gonna see how the Lakers rock.
Right.
Now on to the next part of the segment. We got Donovan Mitchell, we got Spider getting
Mm-hmm.
traded to the Cavs from Utah, and that seems to be waking up a lot of people on the Eastern Conference because that kind of puts them in contention. Even though the Eastern Conference they've been kind of stacked here recently with you got Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
you got Brooklyn, who's of course with Kyrie and KD and Ben Simmons, they're gonna
Minnesota.
make
Wait,
some
wait.
noise.
Minnesota's in the East. I thought it was in the West.
The Bucks.
Milwaukee, you mean? My fault. Okay.
Milwaukee. That's what I
Yeah.
meant. Okay, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
fault. My
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
fault.
Okay.
Milwaukee.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. Of course, you got the Celtics up at the top as well. They just went
Yep.
to the finals. 76 is gonna make some noise with Joel Embiid and James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So you still got the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
You still got a lot of teams. You got 5 or 6 teams that are gonna make some noise in the Eastern Conference. But with Spider going to the Cavs, they might make some noise. What you think?
I don't know about this one, man. I know all the talking heads are high on this. Like you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, they're saying that they could be a top 3 team in the East.
Mm-hmm.
But you just rattled off at least 4 teams that you could be placed above them. But then
Agreed.
you
Agreed.
also got to think about not only the Nets, the Celtics, Philly, Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
Miami. I mean, Atlanta has Trey Young. They picked up your boy from the Spurs, Javante. Shoot, I forgot his name.
Murray. Last name
Murray,
Murray.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Murray, and then you got Chicago,
DeJounte
who
Murray, yeah.
played. Yeah, Dejounte. There you go. I said his name
Mm-hmm.
wrong.
All
And then you
good.
also have Chicago. So that's what 7, 8 teams right there
So you
that
got
are going
Bucks,
to compete
Sixers,
if
Celtics,
Giannis comes back. If Giannis comes
Nets.
back from his little
Mm-hmm.
injury in time, and they can make a run, because you don't know what is going to happen with Giannis and the ankle injury that he just recently had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, the Bucks, like you mentioned. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
No, you good.
But that's at least 7 teams that
I would say 6. I would say
6.
Bucks,
Okay.
Sixers,
Yep.
Nets, Miami, Chicago,
Yep.
and then you still then you got Cleveland. I think because you got to be the 6th seed to get in the play in, right? Or
To
is it
not be in the play in,
to be in the play in? What seed you have to have? I can't remember.
it's the 7th. Yeah, I think you're right. It's the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th
6, 7, 8th, and 9th. So
each.
if they're the top and if they're in the top 6, they're in the playoffs. So but see this is the reason why I think Cleveland will make a run. I think they'll
Mhm.
at least be playing because just last year they were
They didn't make the
terrible.
playoffs last
They
year.
they didn't make the playoffs last year because they were terrible on offense. I think they were I see my notes. Right, let me see my notes. They were 20 out of 30. They were 20th in offensive efficiency. Terrible.
Mhm.
But they were 5th in their defensive rating because of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So
Mhm.
and of course, what I'm saying, you still got Darius Garland out there at the point guard. He's a pretty good defender, even though Spider hasn't been rated as a high defender in his career as of late. You got Darius Garland, who's a really good on-ball defender. You got Evan Mobley, who's a young, just turned 21, who's a young star who has some defense, has some all NBA defense votes this year as a second year player. You
Mhm.
got Jared Allen, who's always one of the best defensive centers in the league. So defensively, they're gonna be good. I think if Spider can add a little bit of offense to this team, I think they got a chance, bro. As far
And
as
so
as
and
far as
so
that's
that's
concerned.
yeah, and that's where I'm torn at, because yeah, they were a good defensive team. They have a good young nucleus.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were struggling on offense, and to me, on paper, it looks like Garland and Donovan Mitchell are the same player. So they're naturally going to take some shots away from each other. And now it does help that they don't really have any other offensive threat. So they can probably feed off each other, but
Mm-hmm.
they're the
Mm-hmm.
same player. So at some point in time, it's going to be like, and I hate always referencing LeBron, but I follow LeBron more than probably anybody in the league.
Likewise.
It's going to be like when he first went to Miami. He was deferring
Mm-hmm.
to D Wade because it was D Wade's team. Now is Garland going to defer to Mitchell, and then it's going to cause some confusion when it's crunch time and they need a bucket. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about, and that's why I'm like, I know talking heads are, talking heads being all the media circuits that talk about sports 24/7. I
Mm-hmm.
know they are high on this, and rightfully so. I just don't see it turning around directly for them next year.
I got you. Well, I think Donovan Mitchell will be the Batman of the Batman and Robin tandem with him and Garland.
Mm-hmm.
Garland is definitely a more of a he's still a score force guard because he kind of had to be because him and Colin Sexton were the only offensive threats on that team last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Colin Sexton was even kind of hurt last year too. He didn't play too many games. Well, he played games, but he missed a lot of time with injuries as well. But Darius Garland had to be a lot of the offensive threat because Colin Sexton was the only other person, and he was hurt most of the time. So
Right.
I think Donovan Mitchell will be that Batman. Darius Garland is definitely more of a distributor than Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll mesh well. They don't have much around them, which is the problem as far as scoring threats. So they're going to have to take a lot of the shots and have to put up a lot of the offense. But if Donovan Mitchell can add just a little bit of offense and get them maybe even in the top third of the NBA, maybe 10 to 12, as opposed to being 20 on offensive efficiency, and they still be top 5 in defense, they got a chance.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I know you might be high on it, or you feel differently than I do. I'm a wait and see guy. It sounds good. It looks good on paper. Everybody always that's the job of these teams and the media is to hype certain moves up to draw in more fans. But I'm a wait and see guy. We'll see what happens when the actual ball goes in the hoop and the ball goes up for the first time.
They gave up a lot. They gave up a lot to get Donovan Mitchell. They gave up Lauri Markkanen. They gave up I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I ain't gonna lie. Fuck it. I ain't gonna say
right.
Donovan. They gave up Colin Sexton, 3 unprotected first rounds and 2 second rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And all the fucking Cavs took was his 4-year contract. So they gave up all of those things for Donovan Mitchell. And Utah got to be rebuilding, bro. They got to be because they already gave up Gobert. Then they gave up Spider. They talking about moving Bogdanovich, Jordan Clarkson, and Mike Conley, which is really the only other players they have on the team for real. So they got to be rebuilding. So it's going to be Colin Sexton and a bunch of me out there running with Colin Sexton.
Yeah. I mean,
that's all it's going to be.
They're definitely rebuilding. Danny Ainge is the new general manager of the team. So he's looking to put his stamp on the Utah Jazz, just like he did with the Boston Celtics. But again, we'll see how everything plays out. It's something to talk about. It's definitely exciting for the Cavs to get a star back into Cleveland. The reason I'm not high on it is because I don't know much about Cleveland and who really does other than Cavs fans if LeBron's not. So
that's a fact. If LeBron ain't there, who really knows for real?
Right,
for real. But
right.
it should be an interesting NBA season between, of course, the Lakers getting Patrick Beverly. Now the Cavs got Donovan Mitchell. East Coast and West Coast, it's gonna be dope. I think it's gonna be a good season, man. It's gonna be fun to watch for sure.
Yep. Sure. All right, man. So now we move on to one of the stories that took the year, and Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Chris Rock finally responds to the apology video that Will Smith sent him. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, so it was a slap heard around the world, man. This slap actually, I was telling D-Lo this the other day when we were talking about this segment. This slap happened on my birthday. In March, on my birthday, bro. So the slap took over my birthday, bro. I can't even enjoy my birthday. Will Smith out here slapping folk, but nah, it was definitely crazy in the sense of Will Smith just acted out of emotion, of course, whenever he slapped Chris Rock. And it's funny because whenever Chris Rock said the joke, Will Smith laughed until he saw his wife didn't really like it and then went up and just acted out of pure emotion, man. And it's like, it's funny to see the community and the people around you react differently to the slap.
Yep.
Of course, women were like, "That's right." Well, some women were
right.
Take up for your lady, take up for your woman. That's I want my man to do that, and this, that, the third. And I'm still over here like, bro, you are bugging, right, bro? Like, this is a show. It's gonna be jokes thrown around. It could come at you. It could go at anybody. Everybody else is laughing at the jokes about them. Why are you tripping about a joke about your wife? She bald headed, my ball. Like, and I know she got alopecia, but go ahead. Bro, I'm gonna let you talk on that. Go do your thing.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is comedians are known to toe the line, and we'll get a little bit into it with
True.
comedians
That's
as
true.
well
That's
in the
true.
next segment. But comedians are known to toe the line. Some of the most
Mhm.
intelligent people in the entertainment industry, because they have to know how far they can go. For me, talking about a medical condition of anybody is out of bounds to me, and I know she accepts it now. She didn't really initially accept that she had alopecia and she was losing her hair, but there's nothing she can do about it. So the GI
True.
Jane joke, while it was a small joke, it really doesn't
Yeah.
mean nothing. It's not alopecia is not a life or death situation. It's not a disease that or illness that'll kill her.
Hmm.
It's nothing she can do about that.
Right.
So for him to say that was like, whoa, all right, now, we kind of overstepping a little bit. But you are correct. Will Smith shouldn't have acted like that. He
He
is
shouldn't have.
he should have he could have handled it in a different light, in a different manner. He could have said something out off stage, or when they were just the two of them. But to get on stage and to
To
slap
get
that
on
man the way he
stage.
did, because we talked about this when it originally happened. I thought it was
Hmm.
fake, because
Yeah, exactly.
Will Smith's been a stand up guy his whole life, pretty
Forever,
much.
bro.
Yeah,
Forever, dog. We can
and
talk
if
about
you
that
read
too,
his
because
book,
he made a comment in the apology that I'm gonna talk about in a second too. But go
and
ahead.
I'm probably about to say it right now. If you
Uh huh.
read his book, he always talks about how he's a people pleaser and how he hates to let people down.
Hmm.
And for this to happen the way it did, obviously you can never please everybody, but
Never.
he definitely upset a lot of people, and he
Hmm.
definitely let a lot of people down.
He
So
definitely did. He definitely, because he talked about, like, because one of the questions that was posed to him in his apology was to talk to the people who expressed that they let him down, and he said that disappointment in him from those people is his
mhm,
central trauma,
right,
and it hurts when he doesn't live up to people's impression of him. So that, and it's like, well, if that's the case, bro, then why do something that is going to disappoint so many people around the world? Not
because
just people who don't know you, but the people in your inner circle, the people in the academy, the people who are in the audience that are watching you hop on this stage and slap the shit out of Chris Rock. Why
yeah,
would you
but
even think to do that if this is your central trauma and the disappointment is that? But like you said, he acted out of emotion.
he acted out of emotion, and out of all the people that he could have upset, he didn't want to upset Jada. And we all know him and Jada
Mm-hmm.
have had some
Man.
issues in their marriage, or at least the
Mm-hmm.
public thinks they've had some issues in their marriage. We don't actually know what's going on in their marriage. They
For
seem to
sure.
be sticking it out. We always
Mm-hmm.
hear, oh, well, last year anyway, we heard that they were going to get a divorce, and then no, they're going to work it out. They went on the red table talk and talked about the issues that they had with August Alsina, or the issue
Mm-hmm.
he had with August Alsina. She didn't
Because
have an
she
issue.
ain't had no
You know what
issue.
I'm saying? But
She had no issue with my boy.
but so he didn't want to let her down. So when he initially laughed, and then sometimes when you laugh at stuff, it doesn't really register until it registers. And then he looked at Jada, and she didn't seem too pleased about it. And he was like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
well, I can't let her down. I got to protect her in this case. Because I believe
Exactly.
Chris Rock and Jada also had an issue, or have had issues in the past.
I
So
think I
this
heard
was
about
like,
that too. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think I heard about that too.
yeah. So this was like
Mm-hmm.
another block on the wall of Jada and Chris Rock. So he
And
had to
Chris,
protect his wife,
for sure,
which
for
she
sure.
don't need protecting.
She don't.
I used to love Jada Pinkett Smith, but it seems like since she was that villain in that Batman Gotham, seemed like she's been kind of off lately. I don't know what it's been, and I'm not trying to judge her, but
Nah, of course not.
she doesn't need protecting. Jada Pinkett Smith is a strong individual.
Mm-hmm.
She
She don't
might
need no protecting in that.
she does a lot of stuff that most of the public don't think Will deserves. But yeah.
I'm saying, man. But so a lot of the backlash initially from the slap came to the fact that he didn't apologize in his speech. Like,
Hmm.
he slapped him, went and sat back down, made that rant, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth, and
Hmm.
was able to enjoy the rest of the show, and then got up and accepted his award and didn't apologize to Chris Rock. He apologized to the Academy, he apologized to the audience, but said he was fogged out. and
Mm-hmm.
was like, I was at that point I was fogged out, and he said he no part of him thinks that that was the right way to react, but it was the moment of feeling disrespected. That's what he said in his apology. So it was like, if it's me, I'm apologizing in the moment, bro. Like,
You
I
think
know
so?
that. Yeah, because okay, and I think I know where angle you're going with this. I'm gonna let you say that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's like just looking at it outside, looking in. He says the joke. You see Will Smith belly laugh, low key, a head back and everything.
Right.
Looks to the left. Oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to go do this. Get up, slap the dick. Because to me, he knew it won't right because he
Yep.
laughed first. He know he had that out of emotion. So
Mm-hmm.
within that maybe hour or so that you're still registering what you just did, at some point in my mind, I'd have been like, you know what? I think I just fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Nah.
saying? And then at that point, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna apologize during my speech because of like, you know what? I made a huge mistake. I made a huge
Yeah.
Jada, I love you, baby. But I made a huge, type shit. But see, but I know what you're about to say. But so go ahead. I know exactly what you're about to say.
What
But
you?
go
No.
ahead. Go
No.
ahead.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
I
Since you
think you're
know.
about to say you got to be a man and stand your ground and live with what you did.
Nah.
I think it's what you're gonna say.
Nope.
Okay, what you gonna say then? What you
Wasn't
gonna
gonna
say?
say
What you
that
gonna
at
say?
all. I was
What
just
you gonna
gonna
say?
say, we humans are complex individuals, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a complex situation.
Agreed.
He was
Agreed.
unanimously um supposed, or it was unanimously known that he was going to win Best Actor that night.
Agreed. Agreed.
The joke was told.
Right.
He goes on stage. I think it was 2 awards before he was supposed to get the Best Actor award, right? Something of the sort. It
I think it
wasn't
was.
long. It
It
wasn't
was.
long.
You
The
sure?
slap
'Cause I
was
thought it
toward.
was a. I thought it was a
This,
little. I thought it was a little. It was a little time, but after that. But go ahead. Maybe
I
I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
he received the award an hour after the slap.
But that's what I'm saying. You have 60 minutes
Yeah,
to
but
sit there and think about. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's a
you
complex.
wouldn't have thought about it and
It's,
apologized.
of course I would have thought about it, but you know he made a mistake.
Yeah, agreed.
Everybody,
Agreed.
and for the life that he's lived in the limelight, for him to not be in too much issues, for him to be the stand-up individual that
Mm-hmm.
he has been, he's allowed to make a mistake. But he compounded that mistake by not apologizing initially in the public.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it takes you a lot to process. It takes some time to process what you really want to say. And so I think
Yeah.
if he had apologized in that manner, it wouldn't have came off as genuine. Some people would say his apology now still isn't genuine. I don't know.
Some people do say that, and I'm gonna get
Right.
into that here in a second too.
Right. But it wouldn't have came off as genuine. It would have came off as kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of snotty and
Mm-hmm.
schmuck and uppity, because he would have just been doing it because they still allowed him to receive his award.
Agreed. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But he
I
definitely
mean that
probably should have apologized in a moment. But really, what was he gonna do? Call Chris Rock on the stage, give him a hug, and say, "Man, I'm sorry." Everybody gonna look at him like he
we
crazy.
already. But see, the crazy thing about that is Chris Rock was not gonna do that.
Exactly.
Like,
So
bro,
it
brother
is
to brother, you just slapped me, bro. I need my 1-on-1. I need my
right.
ones. We need to shoot the ones outside, my boy, because you just slapped me in front of all these people here and 10 million watching at home. I need to fight you, my boy. Like, it's time to scrap.
And
But that, yeah.
yeah, go ahead. My fault. My fault. Go
But
ahead.
no. But see that emotional response that he had initially got him banned for 10 years from the Oscars. But then
They wasn't keeping that.
But he eventually resigned from the Academy anyway.
Man,
So he resigned on his own.
That's all show, bro. He gonna be back in a year and a half. Back
Okay.
at the Academy, back in the Academy, because he's already starting
Mm-hmm.
to film movies again. We're talking about a person that had 10 $100 million box office debuts. That's
Mm-hmm.
unheard of. He doesn't need the money, but it's what
Fact.
he
Yeah,
loves
true.
to do.
It's what he
So
loves to do.
so he'll be back at the cat. It's all for show, just to kind of, until everything blows over and people kind of forget about this. Which,
Mm-hmm.
to go back to why we started this segment, Chris Rock's response. Chris Rock has the right to feel however the hell he wants to feel about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If he want to say, I don't accept your hostage, your hostage video, your hostage apology, which the irony
It
in
did seem kind of like a
the
hostage
irony in the
apology, bro.
video is it did look like a hostage video. The not irony, the comedy in that is it did
Mm-hmm.
look like a hostage video because he starts out the video looking behind the camera, reading
Mm-hmm. Reading
something,
some
reading his
questions.
questions, and then
Yeah.
answering it wide-eyed, looking remorseful, looking like he ain't slept in 2-3 days. You know what I'm saying?
It
So
was very weird, bro. It was very weird, bro.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it looked like a high production hostage
Mm-hmm.
video.
It
So
did. It did.
he has the right to feel however he wants to feel. Chris Rock, I'm talking about, has the right to feel however
Mm-hmm.
he wants to feel about the situation. He has the right
Mm-hmm.
to profit off of that situation as much as he
Indeed, he
wants
does.
to because he didn't press charges, which I don't know how far that would have went anyway. But
Yeah.
he didn't receive, as far as I know, he didn't receive any compensation. He has the right to feel
Facts.
however the fuck he wants to feel about that
He
situation.
definitely does. He definitely
Excuse my
does. And then,
language.
nah, speak your truth, my boy. But I think a lot of people have a problem with it. A lot of the public, the people who are outside looking in, who don't know neither one of these parties. But did you notice that in the because I was watching a video of somebody who kind of reacted to it, and did you notice? Will Smith has a water brand called Just Water. Did you know
Uh,
that?
yeah, actually,
It's
yeah,
like
because
it's like
Jaden was a part of it, right?
Yeah, Jaden's a part
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
so he has a water brand called Just Water. It's like box water, supposed to be the
Mm-hmm.
most filtered, most healthy water that you can purchase.
So they say.
So with so they say. So within the hostage video, quote unquote, just using Chris Rock's terms, he had a hat on that promoted the Just Water brand, and
Yep.
he also had a bottle, front facing bottle of water sitting on the
Mm-hmm.
little end table beside the chair he was sitting in. So people were saying it's product placement. He's trying to promote his brand, things
It's
like
deeper
that.
than
But
that.
it's deeper than that. But people are also just mad that people. What do you feel about people saying I'm sorry and saying I apologize are two different things, and I apologize is not sincere? What do you feel about that?
People are getting into the semantics of language now, man.
Facts, bro. I think it's honestly the exact same thing. To me, it's the
Yeah,
exact same thing.
yeah,
Saying I'm
people.
sorry and saying I apologize. I think I apologize is more sincere, honestly.
Yeah,
But I'm sorry and I apologize. Same.
yeah. I mean, people are getting into the semantics again. It goes to you can't make anybody happy. Everybody happy. So the person that hates you, person that hates the message, don't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. They're never going to
Mm-hmm.
accept that message. The people that
Exactly.
love you, no matter what you do, they're gonna accept that message. So
Right.
but I was saying it gets deeper than that because as far as him and product placement is, he also has a production company called Westbrook.
Westbrook.
Yep, and they
That was the
produced
hat.
it.
That was the hat he had on actually, because it
Yeah,
said
yeah,
Westbrook
yeah.
on the side of the hat. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So they produced the actual apology. He puts it on his YouTube channel, which he's probably getting money off of. So if it is
Mm-hmm.
product placement, it's a lot deeper than just the Just
Just
Water
just water
sitting
brand.
next to
Facts.
him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. Who knows if they will ever reconcile, man? I mean, Chris Rock done called him a pussy. Chris Rock done called him Suge Smith. It's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of celebrities out there that are talking about it. You got your Jim Carrey's, your Steve Harvey's. Wanda Sykes said that she was sick and felt physically sick when she saw
Mm-hmm.
it happen. But Jim Carrey said Hollywood is a spineless and maskless society. Like
Mm.
who knows, man? It's like, man, if they do reconcile, I hope that they do. Of course, Will, Chris, if you ever hear this, hopefully you will. Um, I definitely hope that y'all reconcile, because you and Will had a really good relationship. Will had a very good relationship with your little brother Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Tony said he's trying to scrap.
Yeah.
Tony done made it a very publicly known that he want to shoot the ones with Will
It
Smith.
it
It's
don't
like
always seem like the younger one is way different than the older one. So like if the
always,
older
bro.
one is more, put together and, smart and line, the younger one, he might start out that way or she might start out that way, but then they the ratchet one. That's
The
Tony and
one that's a
Chris.
lot more outgoing. Facts.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah,
Tony and Chris.
yeah, yeah. But I'm
Definitely
like
Tony and
you.
Chris.
I'm like you though. I think it's gonna take some time for them to, or it's gonna take some time for Chris to get over this.
It will.
But I hope that they can have a conversation and squash this beef and really discuss the issues that they have other than that little joke, because it definitely is some other issue, not specifically with Will Smith and Chris Rock, but Chris Rock and, again, this is from what we know. I don't know
Right.
personally, but between Chris Rock and Jada, which started all this. It's always an ulterior motive and a villain other than the two people that's involved. That
And Jada was
sparks.
definitely that villain.
Yeah.
Man, it's like anyway, but yeah, hopefully, like I said, hopefully they reconcile. But we have to see what time tells us, man. Is what time, Father Time gonna tell us exactly what's going on with that. So we'll have to see.
In sports,
Mm-hmm.
this one is a little, it's dark, man. It's
a little darker.
It's deep,
definitely a little darker.
And yeah, we'll get into it. So, talking about Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears molestation and grooming allegations and the controversy surrounding that. Sticks, what did you see the video? You see the skit that's in question and where all this is coming from?
Man, I have definitely seen it. I watched it a couple of times just to kind of, and hopefully they don't cancel me for that. I just wanted to make sure I had all the information that I need.
Right.
But they're being sued, like you said, for child molestation and grooming, and the allegations are stemming from a parody video that they did back in 2013 with a little boy being molested by his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anybody's seen the video. It's out there publicly for the world to see. So if you haven't seen the Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears molestation video, if you want to check it out, cool, but it is weird as hell.
Yeah.
But there's a little boy at the time 7 years old.
He was 7, yep.
He was 7 years old in the video, and Aries Spears is playing his uncle, and he's in the video, he's definitely grooming and molesting this little boy. Not, you don't see it, but you can tell just from the actions and how the energy is with Aries Spears. You can tell that he's definitely doing something behind the scenes with this little boy. So that's where it's stemming from. And the mother is now coming out trying to sue.
No, not the mother.
Tiffany Haddish.
It's not the mother. No, she's not involved in the. She has tried to in the past, not to cut you off. She tried. So she has tried to in the past. I'm wrong. Okay, yeah. No. She tried to in the past, and it was settled with Aries Spears specifically, not Tiffany Haddish. Now, the oldest girl who is also involved in the skit.
Now 22 years old.
Yeah, yep. She's 22. Mm-hmm. She was involved in another skit that they did. She's along with her brother suing Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears.
So it's the kids. It's not the mother.
Yeah,
so
the mother's
from what
not
I saw,
involved. She's not a plaintiff on this.
Okay, so what I was looking at, it was I guess I got a little bit mixed up. So Triza Morris, which is the mother of the two kids, of course, kids being unnamed because of the allegations, but they're now 22 and 15. The two kids are. And the mother, from what I saw, Tiffany Haddish's lawyer said that the mother was trying to sue them for grooming and filming sexually graphic, pornographic, child pornography skits with the kids. But I guess she was extorting them over these past 13 years.
Yes.
Or 8, of these past 8, 13 years. Or 8 years.
8 years.
She was extorting them over these past 8 years. So that's what the lawyer was saying, that she was extorting them, but now the kids are coming out. Mm-hmm. But I think the mother has a lot to do with this. Now that the kids are of age or are able to do it, the mother is now telling the kids to go after this and file these charges.
I don't think so. I think from what I read, again, these are all allegations. We don't know if it's true or not, but we will take this serious. Especially because there's kids involved. I don't mess with anybody dealing with messing with kids or hampering the development of kids. But from what I've read, they have been traumatized about this for quite some time, and it just so happened that the oldest has taken it upon herself to go after the two individuals, Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears, because the mother did try to. I think in the last 8 years, she actually, like I said, she had a settlement with Aries Spears on the allegations in question, but that was it. Nothing legal has happened. So now the oldest has taken it upon herself, along with her brother, to get some type of compensation and some knowledge going on about this. You just mentioned in the last segment what Jim Carrey said about it being Holly weird. And it definitely is, man. This is classic case that we hear of stories going on in Hollywood with young actors, with women, of them being taken advantage of. And my initial thought for this whole thing and it's funny that you brought the mother into this, is that
Mm-hmm.
you got to watch who you allow around your kids and who you allow to watch your
Man,
kids. Because, I
man.
mean, for me, it was like, okay, Tiffany Haddish, how all of this came to be was Tiffany Haddish was speaking at, again, this is all allegations. She was
Mm-hmm.
speaking at the oldest one of her camps, and she
Mm-hmm.
approached her saying, "I have the perfect role for you." How many times have we heard stories that have gone left where it starts out with that, "I have the perfect insert whatever that is for you," and
Mm-hmm.
it, shit just
Right.
goes left. So she says, "I have the
Mm-hmm.
perfect role for you," and then she's in doing this role where she's, the article says she was performing fellatio on a sub sandwich, moaning and whatnot. I mean, so you know how,
I didn't see. Did you? You didn't see that. I'm guessing you didn't see the video, but you were just reading from an
yeah, I
article.
was reading it from an article because the allegations in question are coming from the video with the youngest, but
Damn.
it was
Right. Facts.
two skits that were done with Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish involved. With the first one
Mm-hmm.
being with the oldest daughter, and then the second one that we all have seen, I'm sure, is with the youngest son. And the was it, what's the title of the skit? Something
Um.
with pedophile in it.
Ah.
Something with pedophile in it.
Right. Right.
Let
Right.
alone.
Right. 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 Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so for that, the first skit where she was quote unquote performing fellatio on a sub, I could see how that could get skewed because you I mean, hungry individuals when they are eating food, they moan and stuff. Now,
Make noise. They
right,
make noises.
right
And I
now,
know I'm one of those that be like,
right
good.
now,
Like
to
it's
ask a,
delicious.
exactly, to ask a kid to do that though in that manner, and out of
It's
bounds,
weird, bro.
right?
Way out of bounds. And I haven't seen it, but if you, I can see how that can come into grooming allegations too,
Hmm.
because you're grooming this girl or trying to teach her or groom her into being a sexual, trying to teach her how to be sexual.
Right.
And for a girl at the time, she was what,
14.
16,
She
15,
was 14.
14? 14, yeah, because 8 years ago, now she's 22. So she was 14 years old at the time. I can't even imagine seeing my daughter doing anything like that at
So
14
let me
years
ask
old,
you
bro.
this. Yeah, I couldn't imagine my daughter either, but let me ask you this. The question that always pops into my mind and the questions that I have about this whole situation is,
Mm-hmm.
was the mother originally at the skits when they were producing them? Because she was, at the time, she was a single mother, and that's another reason why
Mm-hmm.
she entrusted Tiffany Haddish with the kids, is that they bonded
Mm-hmm.
over the divorces that both of them had, and that's how they bonded. And
Agreed.
she agreed to entrust Tiffany Haddish with allowing her
Mm-hmm.
kids to be in the skits. But
Right.
she couldn't have been at these. She couldn't have been
Couldn't
at
have.
when they were making these skits, because I know me as a dad. One, I'm gonna try to. I might not be able
I'm
to be at.
supervising.
Yeah, I might not be able to be at
Supervising.
everything, but I'm at least gonna be at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show up enough to where my presence is there. She couldn't have
Facts.
been
Facts.
at these films because at the productions of this, because that alone, the first, wait, you asking my daughter to do what? No, 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 no.
Nah, facts.
Y'all got it messed
Because,
up.
and you know what's even crazier is, I think, and you saw the skit. You
I
watched
saw
the
the
skit.
one with the boy. Yeah,
The way the way Tiffany Haddish was acting in that skit, I believe was portraying how Miss Morris actually was in real life.
you think so?
I think so, because there's no way, bro. There's no way that you're being a single mother. I know you got a lot you got to do. You probably got to work a
Hmm.
couple of jobs. You got to find out. You got to find a way to have your fun when you can. You got to live your life. You got to do, and sometimes within that, you may
Miss out on being present for
miss
your
out on a lot
kids.
of opportunities with your kids. That too, but you may. I don't want to say that, but you're gonna miss out on a lot of opportunities with your kids. So the way that she was acting in the skit, I think was supposed to portray how Miss Morris actually was in real life.
Or
And
do you think
she
it was
was
just a
legit
generalization for single mothers,
single mothers in general,
young single mothers, not just
young
single
single
mothers?
mothers, and yeah, most that could be it too. It could have been a generalization, and we're not saying that all single mothers are like
Yeah,
this. So please
definitely
don't take
not.
this out of
Well,
context,
it's
ladies.
because
Please
it's the
don't.
skit. You know what I mean? We're talking
But it's
about
just because of
how
the
they
skit. So we talk
portray.
about the skit
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general,
yeah, yeah.
right? So she portrays single mothers as erratic, trying to drop their kids off anywhere they can just to have a free moment, to
Mm-hmm.
go out, to go do run errands. And if that sometimes I'm sometimes that happens. But I think a
Sometimes.
lot of single
Listen,
mothers.
hold on. Let me stop you. And not to interrupt you. You said sometimes. I mean, as I'm married with 2 kids, and
Mhm.
it's tough on us not having our family in close proximity to us. So we basically, I mean, I sit in the house anyway, but we sit in the house
Mhm.
and not do much. So I can only imagine how it is for a single mother
A single
that
mother.
has to do
Yeah.
everything: clean the house, cook, provide for the kids, make sure that they're doing their
Mhm.
homework. So looking for free time, I can see how you can easily,
I can see how that
and
could be.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
see how you can easily lose track of some of the responsibilities that you have for your kids. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just want to know,
It's
was
tough.
she even there, or was she doing handling other responsibilities and then
And like you said, she
trusted,
couldn't have been.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
trusted
and
Tiffany
trusted Tiffany.
Haddish with the supervision of her kids during this time.
That's exactly what happened. And Tiffany Haddish definitely spoke out about it. And of course, Aries Spears, he's a weird. I fell down a rabbit hole
Hmm.
of some of Aries Spears skits that he did. He did those 2 skits with these 2 children.
Hmm.
He did another skit that was the intro to the Bill Cosby show,
What?
where he was, yeah, an intro to the Bill Cosby show where he was portraying himself as Bill Cosby drugging these women.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, like Bill Cosby, Aries Spears,
Wow.
just his reputation is the reason, is the number another reason why he's in this situation.
Hmm.
But of course, he came out and spoke to it on his podcast. He has a podcast with Andy Steinberg. It's called Steinberg and Spears,
Hmm.
and he came out and spoke about it to all the loyal fans, saying thanks for the support. But he was saying it's an extortion case, which in theory it is, but because this happened so long ago and the mom has already been trying to get the money out of them, and she already got a settlement out of Aries. Now the daughter is coming out, so it's like, and then Tiffany Haddish spoke out. She had a really long statement that she made on Instagram. It's basically saying, I know people have a bunch of questions. I get it. I'm right there with you. Unfortunately, because this is an ongoing legal case, there's very little I can say right now. But clearly, while this sketch was intended to be comedic, it wasn't funny at all.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't. Yeah.
and she says, I deeply regret having to agree to act in it. I really look feared and being able to share a lot more about the situation as soon as I can. So that's what she said. So she hates the fact that she even did it at this point. It was 8 years ago. I know that she was kind of just starting out her career and things
Hmm.
like that. So she was kind of just doing, but she is very remorseful. Aries Spears, not so much.
Yeah. It was not funny at all. The skit.
It
It
wasn't
was
funny
it
at
was
all.
kind of uncomfortable to watch.
Very much so.
Very uncomfortable to watch. And like I mentioned in the last segment, comedians are seen as, or typically comedians are some of the smartest individuals in the entertainment industry. You look
Mm-hmm.
at Dave Chappelle, as controversial as he is, his his stand-ups
Very
are
intellectual.
very, like, they make you think. They cause a lot of
Mm-hmm.
controversy, but they make you think. And
Mm-hmm.
in controversy, he's talking about race, he's talking about religion, sexuality has been big for him as of late. He talked about
Mm-hmm.
class. He talks about
Mm-hmm.
his kids and how bad they are. He doesn't actually act out groping any other kids. You got Chris Rock. Ironically, you have Chris Rock, who's intellectual with his comedy. George
Mm-hmm.
Carlin, old comedian, very
Older
intellectual.
comedian,
Yeah,
very
his
intellectual.
his comedy stand up still resonate with what's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
Comedians push the envelope. That's just what
They
they
do
do.
all the time.
That's
They
what.
toe the line all the
Yeah,
time.
they toe that line all the time. But this one, this this one is way out of bounds. I know I said the Jada one was out of bounds, and that
Mm-hmm.
one was only slightly out of bounds because, like I said, she's not gonna die from that. This one was way
Mm-hmm.
out of bounds, like
Way out
way
of
out of
bounds.
bounds. And again, there are allegations right now, but you actually see the videos in question. You can gather your
Mm-hmm.
own thoughts for yourself. If anybody sees that video and says, I see nothing wrong with it, I question your
Bugging.
character,
Bugging.
because
Oh my
it was
gosh.
not only was the little boy for this video, not only was the little boy half naked the whole time, just in his drawers,
Mm-hmm.
he was in the tub.
The bathtub at one
Bathtub.
point.
Aries Spears climbs in the bathtub with him. He rubs
Mm-hmm.
baby oil on
Baby
Aries
oil.
Spears on the boy's show. Aries Spears rubs baby oil on the boy's shoulders, and then in turn
Mm-hmm.
towards the end, the boy rubs baby oil on him, and he begins to grope and groom, which is
Yeah.
and so it's
And that yeah.
it's
Go
it's
ahead. I'm
kind
sorry.
of it's definitely truth in the skit, and I understand what the message that they were trying to convey. They went
Hmm.
about it the wrong way.
The
They
wrong
went about
way.
it the wrong way.
The wrong way.
Yeah.
Absolutely the wrong way. And I was gonna get into that too. What you just mentioned was that towards the end of the skit, the little boy started having feelings for Aries
Right.
Spears. And that's what the grooming allegations and the molestation is that sometimes the victim becomes becomes the one that's going at. So you start grooming these kids. This trauma that you're putting these kids through,
Hmm.
that he was putting these kids through in the skit, is happening in real life. A lot of there's some people out here who are just weird like that, and they're preying on little kids, and it traumatizes these kids so much that they grow up knowing nothing about that. And you know what's crazy? And we talked about this right here, and that goes into R. Kelly.
Hmm.
He said that he was molested when he was a child, and that's all he knew. He thought sex was power, and that you had power over people if you were sexual, and you just and that's how he got into that same thing with his charges.
Yep.
So it's like
Yeah.
like D'Lo said, man. If you see this skit, if you go out here, if you haven't seen it, and you go watch it just based off of what we had our commentary on it, and you see nothing wrong with it, something is wrong with you, my guy.
Yeah. I won't say.
Something is wrong with you
Well,
because it's weird.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You can say something's wrong. I take the slightly aggressive approach. I question. I'm not gonna say something's wrong with
Less
you.
less aggressive. Nah,
I question.
I'm aggressive. I'm aggressive.
uh,
I'm aggressive.
I
So if you see nothing wrong with that Aries Spears
Yeah,
skit,
yeah,
something
yeah,
is
yeah.
wrong with y'all.
I
It's
quit.
wrong with y'all.
Yeah, I question. But the thing is, you hit the nail on the head. Is for some reason, not only in America but all over, the molestation and messing with little kids is like passed down from generation to generation, generation to generation. The
Hmm.
trauma continues, and
Yeah,
I don't know how we stop it, but it has to stop because we
it
are
does.
messing up generations of people that should be prospering, but they can't come out of their shell because of what happened to them when a kid. And it's way
Hmm.
more individuals than you know or that are around you that have been molested or have had
Hmm.
something happen to them by somebody that they trusted when they were younger,
Hmm.
and they are secretly dealing with it.
Secretly dealing
we
with it.
we, we
Yeah,
gotta we
they're
gotta get
suppressing
better
those
with.
emotions, those feelings.
Exactly. We got to get better with how we treat our children, how we raise our kids. I mean, there's a lot of great individuals in this world, but it's also a lot of sick individuals in this world. And
Hmm.
I'll go back to how I started this segment: is make sure you know who is around your kids. I don't care if
Hmm.
it's family member, friend, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you have a good gauge. And then sometimes it's hard. People put on good
It's
facades.
hard to gauge
People
for sure.
people put on good fronts, good facades, but you gotta always be mindful of who is around your kids because you don't want them to take advantage of your kids, um, and you don't want them to ruin all of the hard work that you have been doing or putting in with your kids and ruin
Hmm.
their future. And I'll
For sure,
finish this
man.
with, I got a bunch of questions. We already asked it. Was the mother there at the recording? I'm gonna
Hmm.
say no because if she was, then I don't think
Couldn't have been.
I don't. The first one may have been the first skit may have gotten away just because,
Hmm.
like I said, people when they eat they make noises, so that could have been at the time gone over her head. But
Hmm.
that second one definitely would not have flown. She would probably
Would
stop
not have
that
flown, bro.
off rip. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you in that sentiment. She couldn't have been there. And again, it could just go back to just like you said, interest in Tiffany Haddish, and knowing Tiffany Haddish, they had the same kind of I would say lifestyle, but they went through the same kind of trauma with the divorces and things like that. So
mhm.
she trusted Tiffany, and I would go so far as to say Tiffany took advantage of that trust.
Yes.
And it goes back to your sentiment of saying, hey man, just know who you got around your kids,
Yep.
because Tiffany definitely took advantage of that situation. What was your next question you had?
Well, I'll just piggyback off that, and I know it's hard for single mothers, especially, shit, it's hard for me. Then I have another parent in the house, another partner in the house to raise kids. But I
Mm-hmm.
know it's hard to do that all the time. But you got to be vigilant with that. And that's all I'll say about that. As far as making sure you know who's running your kid. My second question and third question, because it's always another level to it, is
Mm-hmm.
what was this video for?
It was meant initially to bring awareness, or that's what it was meant to do. It was meant to bring awareness to molestation and grooming that does happen in the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it definitely does happen behind the scenes. It was meant to bring awareness to it, but the way they went about this skit was just the entirely, just like we said earlier, it was just, they just went about it the wrong way. It did not shed any light on it. If anything, it made it even more weird
Right. Yeah. I mean,
to me. So that's what it was for initially, was just to bring light to what does happen with in some
yeah,
situations.
they went way left with this, and
They went way left. And the crazy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
you
off, but the
good?
crazy thing is that it's not always just the weird uncle.
Yeah, for sure.
You
It's
got you got aunts that do it. You got friends that do it. It's
yeah.
not just men that are out here doing these Geppetto crimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's women do it too. It's
Right.
and this just to shed some light on that. But the ones that are the most publicized are the ones that are men having these allegations against them. But it could be anybody, bro. It could be anybody that's doing these things. So just like we say, man, just make sure you know who's around your children.
Yeah. I feel like Tiffany Haddish is more remorseful for it
She
than
is.
Aries Spears is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's standing on his comedy. I was
Mm-hmm.
towing that line, telling the story and making fun of the situation, trying to bring laughs to the situation.
Yeah.
That's just one of like rape. We can't say that, can we?
Grape.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
That you don't play with that either. Like those
At
are
all, man.
situations you just don't play with. And I feel like he has, in his statement, what he did say, it just came off real aggressive and like we ain't with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what's going on. And what Tiffany had is, while we haven't heard her tone in this situation, the
Mm-hmm.
words that she wrote, whether it came from her heart directly or a publicist wrote it, it seemed a little more dialed down and remorseful.
It did.
Um,
It was. It was for sure.
but that being said, we said what it was for. Who signed off on this? So, like,
I
let's think about some of the stuff that when it comes out, the first question we ask is, okay, yeah, y'all did that, but who higher up, who above you signed off on that? Who oversaw that? So you think about the
mhm.
H&M ad where they had the what
the,
that shirt that the
the
little
look
black boy
the
wore,
shirt.
and it was like the
Mhm.
what coolest the what is it, something with monkey in it.
Coolest monkey in
The
school.
cool no the coolest monkey in the jungle, something like that.
The cool. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Coolest
coolest
monkey
monkey
in
in the
the
jungle. Yeah.
jungle. And the first question that we ask as a collective is, okay, yeah, some person was just doing their job, taking the photos and whatnot. What CMO, what chief marketing officer signed off on this at H&M? Let's hold them accountable. My question
Facts.
is, what person that was tied to Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish said, yeah, yeah, y'all go ahead and do that skit. Come on, man. I know you. Oh, you're getting in the tub with a little boy. Yeah, let's go ahead
Yeah,
and do that.
that's perfectly
Yeah, that's
fine. That's
fine.
perfectly cool.
That's nothing gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's no feet, no backlash that's gonna come from that. Come on, man.
It had to be somebody just as weird as them, and it's like, but I heard in a report, like I said,
And
I
again,
was
these are all
watching a
allegations, but
these all
video is
allegations,
damning in itself.
damning in itself. But I was watching a reaction video to it, and the person who was reacting, and it could be all he say she say, but even the people who were recording the video and like producing it and putting to publish it on YouTube,
Hmm.
they weren't even with it. They weren't even
So you
with it.
got to stand
But like
up.
you said, who higher than Aries? Who higher than Tiffany? Who higher than the cameraman? Who higher than the producer? Came out and said, That shit cool as hell. Running.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Who said
funny.
it?
That's hilarious. No, it's
That's
not, bro.
funny. It's funny, and you're bringing light to these things that are happening. No, you're not, bro.
Yeah.
It's weird, my guy.
It's okay to bring
It's
light to that
weird.
situation. It happens all the
There's
time.
definitely different ways to do it.
But yeah, like we started out, they went way left on this one,
Way
out of
left.
bounds.
Way left.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's ridiculous, man. So,
we'll see what happens with this whole case, and we'll see how it's taken by the Los Angeles County DA and how far it goes, if anything actually happens, if Aries or Tiffany serve any time, if they Aries already pretty much already lost his career. If Tiffany loses her career, we'll see.
yeah. Facts,
Y'all let
facts.
us know what you think
Cool, man.
in the comments.
Nah, facts. So so that is definitely the last topic. Any closing remarks on the topics that we already covered? Any closing remarks you got, my boy?
Nah, man, I don't have any closing remarks on what we said. I think we pretty much hit the nail on the head with every segment as far as what we talked about. I do want to ask you a question. So, being not it about anything that we covered, but being that this is our second podcast, our second time doing this, what did you
Second
learn
episode.
together? Yes, our second episode. What did you learn? What are your takeaways from last week in putting out the information, the content that we put out, and how do you feel? How you feel about it?
I feel like the content that we put out last week was definitely really, really good content. I think it has been well received by the people who we sent it to and the people who actually found it organically through YouTube. I feel like us just starting, me and you already have a really good relationship. We've been knowing each other for 20 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
for more than 2 decades. So we have that chemistry, and I believe that it resonates very, very well on camera. Um, the content that we put out last week was good, but we can only get better. And I feel like this episode right here shows that we're being more efficient. We're learning different tricks in the trade. We're taking constructive criticism from people outside looking in. So I think that it's the sky's the limit from here, man. I feel like we're gonna be great, bro. I
Yeah,
feel like we're gonna be great.
yeah. I definitely. So obviously, I gave it a little thought. I asked the question, gave it a little thought. I think
Mm-hmm.
it definitely, from episode 1 to episode 2, definitely shows our range that we
Mm-hmm.
can. I mean, I thought some of the stuff we did last week was funny. I mean, I don't
I
know.
think it was, bro.
I
It
don't
was
know if
funny as
everybody else
hell.
thought it was funny, but I thought it was funny, right? But
I
then
thought it
this
was
week
hilarious.
we were, kind of funny, but a little bit more serious. Talked about a little bit more serious topics, and
Yeah,
we'll go up and down. We'll weave them in and out with the different topics that we talk about. But I definitely think it shows our range. Like
it
you
does.
said, we'll just only get better from here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. Hopefully you continue to rock with us. You'll help us grow, and even give us topics that you want to hear us talk about.
For
We would
sure.
really
For sure.
appreciate that. So,
Put it down in the comment section below. Hit us up on all our social media platforms that we have. Instagram, it's all in the description. So check all those things out. And whatever you want us to talk about, man, we're here to give you the info.
for sure. So, with that being
For
said,
sure.
man, this has been the Pardon Your Wisdom podcast with Sticks and D'Lo.
Pardon my wisdom
Yeah,
podcast with Sticks
pardon
and
my
D'Lo.
wisdom, but pardon your wisdom too, because you got it. And
Already.
this has been a My Wisdom podcast. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.